How's it going, guys and gals? This is the interview roundup of things that have been confirmed. In the initial interview from ZiggyD featuring Jonathan Rogers and Mark Roberts, some things that were confirmed are: there will be early access league that will stick around and be separate from standard. Each class will have its own lore throughout the campaign, including interactions with NPCs and bosses, etc. There are special cases for this, including one interaction involving the Chronomancer ascendancy and a specific boss. There may be more character models in the future, adding more customization related to the culture and lore of each class and ascendancy. There are currently no plans for Val skills or transfigured gems, but the idea is something that could be played with in the future. There will be a lot more skills coming down the pipeline that are almost ready but need some refinement, just like the other 6 classes, which of course are Marauder, Druid, Templar, Assassin, Huntress, and Gladiator. There are currently close to 240 active skills, not including other skill additions, though currently with the classes in-game there are roughly 120 active skills. Buffs through aura skills can be added, such as Herald of Ice with increased accuracy as a bonus from the support. Crafting is much more about finding good items that have dropped. Spam rerolling is not the primary crafting goal anymore. Later, when you can metacraft, there will be a lot of control when creating your items. When looking for specific mods using essences, and omens will open up this option quite a bit. There will be more crafting options added. Dead ends can equal good drops, as you can run into rare chests often. Rarity affects currency drops now. It also helps with how good drops are. Each icon on the map can have some lore connected to events, adding to the depth of the story involved with the Exiles. All content will be accessible, and there will be no lockout to run whatever you want other than your own ability. Boss maps will be a choice and have their own atlas tree to increase their difficulty, which can change how some skills work, as well as some may have different skills from the campaign to make them a challenge in maps. Challenges, private leagues, and races will not be in right away, but they are looking into adding them. And there is no plan currently for cluster jewels. The second interview we'll be touching on will be the one with Darth Microtransaction and Ghazi TV, joined by Jonathan Rogers. In-game bestiary is a possibility in the future, so we can actually see the models and appreciate the design, as well as see the abilities of each specific monster. Drops on average have been adjusted to be good in party play by increasing good drops. In a party, if you die, you cannot re-enter the map or be revived outside of the campaign. More details on magic find / rarity, on how it closes in on a type of bases drop, but also the modifiers that can appear on the drop itself, increasing tier of rolls. This will also effectively help with hunting for uniques. Loot filters are in and work the same as they did in Path of Exile 1. The passive tree starting area will have 3 variants depending on your class. 8 total ascendancy points will be earned, 6 during the campaign and 2 during the endgame. You could brick the starting area of the atlas, and there is a way to reset your atlas freshly. Jonathan Rogers also stated that there is a possibility to be able to refresh your atlas at the beginning if you don't like your layout. There are specific spawn conditions for maps such as Untainted Paradise. The seed for your atlas affects the biomes around, and this can lead to someone having an advantage. However, on average, everyone's atlas will be well distributed and even out in some way. Gem quality is in the game, however, gem cutter prisms will be dropping in the end game. Skill gem quality will affect more than just damage in most cases. Metacrafting omens cannot be used in combination, only one at a time. Skills and weapon types belonging to classes that will not be in early access at launch will be implemented as the classes are added. There are 2 types of scepter, one specific for minion use and one more leaning towards the Templar skill set. Skills added by items such as staves and scepters and ascendancies can be supported by support gems. However, they cannot be socketed into metagems. Blood Mage uses blood orbs and can double their life cap. This is how they sustain by using their blood in their skills. Demon form currently is broken with minions due to the transformation causing you to not have your scepter equipped, though I believe this should be fixed by launch of early access. There is a secondary minion interface that will not launch with early access, but will be out to have better configuration with your minions and weapon swapping. Golems are not currently added to the early access, but may be added later. You can play PoE 1 and PoE 2 simultaneously. Cyclone is not in early access for launch, but it is in the game and it will be out when the class connected to it is released. Reflect is not in the game. There are mods that can still brick your run, but there will be 3 instead of 6 things affecting you. So on average, it's going to be a lot easier to run maps because you're going to have 3 positives to the map, so increase the XP, etc., and then 3 negatives. And so you just have to work around those 3 negatives to see what you can and cannot run. There is a feature to be added for .build files that will allow you to import builds to follow, so that way you can import it and just follow along the tree as the person that created or you created. There are systems in place that will help you along for your first 10 levels or so to make sure you get enough skill gems dropped to allow for smooth progression. Lastly, we have the interview done with Talkative Try and Jonathan Rogers. The term overflow means you can recoup up to double of that resource in question. Meta skills cannot be used with skills from your ascendancy or from scepter/staves. Using multiple meta skills of the same type is okay and possible. Rare monsters are truly rare in the sense that they will have been given unique abilities. For instance, the quill crab has a different attack using its quills when rare. Rare monsters are now balanced on a type basis instead of overall. There should be at least one fun mod on all rare mobs. There will definitely be one-shots in early access. Monsters are still being balanced. Bosses are biome based, and they are working on having a way to have randomized bosses based on the biome so that there can be some variety even in the same biome. There are currently no uses for the other slots in the Waystone device. So there's 4 slots, only one of them will be used currently, but they will probably come up with something that we can add in later. Waystones go from T1 to T15 and can be corrupted to T16. Duels are in, but nothing more has been done for PvP currently. Permanent buffs have been added to the second Cruel playthrough, though the buffs offered may differ, so keep an eye out. Advanced, Expert, and Ultimate items have been added as placeholder items for item types that drop in Acts 4 to 6. They will convert over to the actual items and item art when the items are released, or when the acts are released actually. There are some base types that are specific to endgame as well, though there are no details on what they're working with as far as item art in that instance. The tier shown on items is the tier of modifiers that will roll on that item. There will be no rune words. Rune/slow cores cannot be removed from sockets. Runes will be basic stats, resistances, etc., and soul cores will have much more interesting modifiers that can be added to power up your character. Vendor recipes will not be in the game. Instead, they have been replaced by the disenchanter and benches such as the salvage bench for quality currencies. This wraps up the information gleaned from the recent interviews. Y'all have a good one. This is Elder Vo saying, over and out.